All right. I think we're live now. Hello, everybody, and welcome in. Really glad you're all here today. And thank you all for taking time out of your busy days to stop in. And if you're here live with us, or even if you're watching after the fact, we love having you. So, I'm Tom Anderson from Hendricks Wealth and Estate Management. Joined with me today on screen are some of the other Hendricks staff, Sean Hendricks and Jim Madel. Um, and also on screen, I have a very special guest with me today, Alexandra Troisi from the Loveland Center. It's a nonprofit here in the lovely Bradenton, Florida. And I'm just super happy to have her on today, and she's going to discuss a little bit about what they do as an organization there, so you guys can all see what a great organization it is that she actually works for. Um, but before I get into the financial side of things, just wanted to share why I personally care a lot about today's topic. I spent a lot of years between high school and college working as a personal care assistant for individuals with special needs, including my first cousin who has osteogenesis imperfecta, which is pretty much just a condition that affects her bones and ability to move and walk. And that experience kind of changed me and helped me see a side of the world I hadn't seen before. So getting to talk about legacy giving alongside an organization that serves adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. It means a lot to me, not just, on the professional side, but on the personal side as well. Um, but today I'm going to cover the, how nonprofits like this can continue to function at their best through charitable giving, the strategies, tax advantages, and what those dollars actually can do for organizations like the Loveland Center or other nonprofits. And then Alexandra will have a little bit of time to tell us about what it is that they do over there. So without further ado, let's jump in. Oh, and if you have any questions during the live stream, there should be a Q&A button, maybe right here on your screen, depending where you are. Um, Feel free to drop a question in and one of us will answer it. And if you have questions after the fact, one of us will get to those as well. So really, what even is legacy giving? A lot of people hear that and they picture some massive donation, something that is really out of reach for a lot of people, but it's not that really. It's thoughtful planning. It's making sure that the causes that you care about are set up to receive support as a part of maybe your estate or as a taxable advantage to you while you're still around. Um, and the scale of this really can be real. Bequests alone account for 8 to 10% of all charitable dollars donated in this country. And for organizations that have a strong legacy program, this could be 20 to 40% of their total revenue, depending on the nonprofit. And the big idea today is just showing donors how to give smarter, not just more generously, more money, um, but in ways that often come with significant tax advantages, where it can be a win for the donor and a win for the cause. So legacy giving really does and can benefit both sides of the equation. For donors, depending on the strategy used, you can get present day tax deductions for future gifts. You can reduce estate taxes, and you can even have just the peace of mind that the causes that you care about, they'll be funded long term. Um, and here's something a lot of people don't realize. Many of those strategies that are specifically designed to work alongside those plans, they can still take care of family too. It doesn't have to be charity versus your heirs. Um, for the organization, these gifts can be transformational, uh, and frequently the largest single donation a charity ever receives. So 20 to 40% of revenue for some of these organizations is not a small number. It could be the difference between surviving and truly thriving for a lot of these charities and nonprofits. So let's quickly walk through the main vehicles for vehicle giving, because just understanding what it is that you match the right strategy to the right person can be a huge step. Bequests, these are probably the most common overall. It's just pretty much basically naming a charity in your will, in your trust. It's simple, it's flexible, it's revocable. Um, beneficiary designations can be even simpler. Just name a charity directly on your IRA or your insurance policy or your 401k, whatever it may be. Then there are QCDs and DAFs. And these are really where the real tax efficiency starts to show itself. And for a lot of these higher net worth situations, then there are trust-based strategies like charitable remainders trusts or charitable lead trusts. They're both powerful, but they're structured differently. Um, and don't worry if any of these are new or really over the head. We'll kind of touch briefly on these in the next couple slides. So QCDs and DAFs, qualified charitable distributions, and donor advised funds are really where the real tax efficiency can live. So I'm going to break them down pretty quickly here. A QCD or a qualified charitable distribution is really just for anyone 70 and a half years or older who has a traditional IRA. The money can go right from your IRA directly to the charity, and it will never show up as taxable income to you. So the big thing here is that it satisfies your RMDs or your required minimum distributions. So it avoids the income hit and can even lower your Medicare premiums. Um, and the limit's pretty large. For 2026, it's $111,000 per person. So really opens up a big opportunity to avoid some of the hit from your RMDs. Um, Now, donor advised funds, and I want to kind of spend a little bit more time on these because this is where a lot of people leave some money on the table. Here's a situation a lot of people are in. There's somebody who's giving $5,000, $10,000 to charity every year, um, but maybe they take the standard deduction on their tax return, 16,100 for singles or 32,200 for married couples, and that means that that $5,000, $10,000 charitable distribution that they're giving every single year is getting them no real benefit in tax savings. Zero often. They're being generous, but the tax code's not rewarding them for it at all. And a DAF is, really a big fix to that. Instead of giving, say, $10,000 a year, you contribute maybe 50,000 into the DAF in 1 year, which is 5 years of your giving all at once. Um, and that big contribution pushes you over that standard deduction threshold. Now you're itemizing and you actually get the deduction for that charitable contribution. And then you can go ahead and distribute that $10,000 a year out of this fund every year like you were already doing. Your giving pattern doesn't have to change. It's just the tax outcome that comes from it. And so this strategy can be called bunching, and it's really one of the most underused tools out there for just, everyday donors while they're still around. Um, and some of the rules did change in 2026, especially revolving around DAFs. Um, and now they're starting to be in effect. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act kind of put a couple things on there. They did an AGI floor of 0.5%. Just means the first 0.5% of your income in donations is not taxable. And then it tops out for these higher tax bracket donors. It's capped at about 35% instead of 37. But DAFs are still a great tool for itemizers. And the strategy just has to be a little bit more deliberate now. Um, and as always with these, I'd be working with a tax professional just to model it out for your specific situation. And for those not using itemized deductions, the bill also did include a new $1,000 above the line deductions for single filers that can help you with a partial tax break. But DAF contributions don't qualify for that. So really, that above the line one just depends on your situation. And a couple quick hits on the last two things I have here today. Like we touched on before, bequests, these are really the workhorse. They're simple, they don't have an upfront cost, they're flexible. The dollar amount, percentage, contingent, doesn't matter. There's no present day income tax deduction, but you can potentially save on your estate tax benefits. But for more sophisticated situations, and this is a whole nother ball game to hop into in depth on a later day. Um, Charitable remainder trusts, these are fantastic for things that appreciated, things like real estate stock that have gone way up in value. And the trust pretty much just sells without triggering those capital gains, pay you an income stream, and then the remainder goes off to charity. Charitable lead trusts, they kind of work in the opposite way. The charity will receive the income first, and then the heirs will receive the remainder after you pass away. Um, but one absolute takeaway is just be careful implementing any of these without a coordinated team. It's good to work with an estate attorney, a financial planner, tax pro, and when these all work together, they can really help you out in the best way. Um, but all right, now I get to hand it off to somebody who, really glad we got to do this with. Alexandra Troisi, is with Loveland Center, and if you haven't heard about them, you're about to be, pretty impressed. Loveland is a nonprofit right here in our local community in Bradenton, and it provides day services for adults with intellectual developmental disabilities. And I think the work that they do is just great. So Alexandra, I'll let you take it from here and tell everybody a little bit about, what Loveland is and what you do there. The floor is yours.
Sure. So I work within the Bradenton ADT. It's the acronym for Adult Day Training. And we are out on Manatee Avenue West. So ADT, which is also known clinically as Life Skills Development, we're a level 3 program, is a service that is funded through Medicaid, specifically for individuals with developmental disabilities that are eligible through the I-budget waiver, which is the specific sect of Medicaid that's designated for them. And at the ADT, we focus on teaching self-care and daily living skills, encouraging socialization, communication, participating in the community through like volunteering and outings, and then recreation, enrichment, health and wellness activities, and so on and so forth. We, as I said before, like they're funded by the I-budget waiver. So that is managed by APD, which is the Agency for Persons with Disabilities through the state. Only people who have the listed disabilities like autism, Down syndrome, spina bifida, cerebral palsy, Prader-Willi syndrome are eligible for this. And to apply, you have to have a diagnosis before the age of 21. And currently in the state of Florida, there are over 20,000 people who are waitlisted to receive eligibility for these services, even though once they're on the wait list, it's lifelong. And anything that qualifies, such as ADT services, so day services, housing, therapies, staff support, respite programs, supported employment programs, all of that would be funded through the I-budget waiver. But there are a lot of people in the state that are still on wait lists, which means to have access to the ADT services or any other services, they would have to pay out of pocket, which is very unfortunate due to the waitlisting and lack of funding through the state, which is kind of ties into legacy giving and why it's so important. So through our program, we get reimbursed through Medicaid for as an hourly rate per group ratio for individual. So the hourly rate is listed and we get reimbursed between $6 and $22 per hour per person. So that's not enough to keep all of the funding going. We cover everything from the training that we need for our staffing, fleet management for all of our vehicles to get them out into the community and to pick them up and bring them to and from program, compliance, buildings, maintenance, supervisors, administration, payroll, HR, like every department, like getting reimbursed at $22 an hour per person is just not covering it. So a lot of our funding comes from grants as well as, which also tie into the donor advised funds and all of that. And just the involvement of and support of the community and people who are willing and excited to get involved to support these programs as they are super necessary. Right now we have at our program 40 individuals that attend and we are at capacity. So we're one of like 3 or 4 programs in the entire county that all have similar attendance. So there's a lot more than 80 people in the county that need services. And the reason why we got started was because of a grant through the Charles and Marjorie Forensic Foundation, where they granted us $300,000 to start the entire program. So we were able to purchase 2 vehicles, rent the current space that we have in West Bradenton, bring on all of our staff, and then because all of our participants at the time were not wavered, we were able to provide 25 scholarships. Excuse me, for every single one of those people. And once that happened, I'm so sorry. Once that happened, their year expired. And we were able to contact APD and provide a year for them, and they were permanently wavered after that. So in 2019, 750 people were awaiting services, and we were able to take 25 off of that list, and now we're at capacity at 40. So we're looking to expand and create another program to do the same thing, which can be funded through a similar grant or founders or through the donor advised funds, as Tom was talking about earlier. So currently at our program, we offer all the skill development. We have the daily living skills, the personal care. We do budgeting and money skills, just setting them up to be as independent as possible. Our motto is to want to work ourselves out of a job. So we want to set them up for success. We want to set them up for permanent independence and being able to live as independently as possible through training and skills. But also at the same time, provide comfort to the families that their children who are now adults will be in a sustainable environment for the rest of their lives. So as long as they want to be there. After they are 21 and they age out of the school system, they can stay with us for the rest of their lives if they so choose, which gives a lot of comfort to the families once they set their child up in this program, that they have somewhere that they trust that they can be at. And that's where the funding comes in to make sure that these programs through legacy stay where they are and stay funded and stay in operation. We also offer the Ability First Clinic. So we have in-house physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy services, which provides another big comfort to families where they're not having to come through Monday through Friday during their day, during their work day, to come and pick their son or daughter up from program to go and take them to their therapies, to take them, to PT. We do that in-house. So they are able to just go and get their therapies and then go right back to program. And this clinic is open to the public as well. So it's fully accessible for anybody. But we really try and streamline and focus on keeping the families as secure as possible. So that way they can go out and work and not worry about getting home until their kid is done with program, and that everything is taken care of. The funding that we've received in our other centers, we have 3 other centers. We have our Venice campus, which was the original campus that was started in the 60s. And then we have Northport and Port Charlotte serving the other more southern counties. We have a Creates program, Hearty Kitchen Academy, Gross Motor program, Healthy Living program. All of these have been started through donors and families that have said, I want my child to be able to do theater program. I want my child to be able to do cooking and full kitchen safety. And they have started their own programs through funding their dreams and wanting to keep them as independent and like having a fruitful life as possible. And we're looking to replicate that in Bradenton. So we've only been around for almost 6 years now. So we're looking to expand our program in the same way, focusing on what our participants want. Our focus right now is getting a new kitchen, so that way they can provide full training. We have a cooking instructor, so they're doing meal preparation, kitchen safety, knife safety, heat safety, all of those things that are we learned long ago because we had uh, to keep ourselves safe, and we're just providing that same training for them so that way they can be independent within their homes and also give back to the community through selling baked goods and wanting to give back. Um, we have our first fundraiser for our county on Monday. It's very exciting. It's been a long time coming. Um, and we're raising money to get the kitchen installed. And that will be on Monday from 6 to 9 on March 30th of 2026, depending on when you're watching this. But we are always looking to meet with people that want to come see our program, and meet the people that we support and see what an impact people getting involved can have. So we always do tours, and the people that we support love to meet the community members and talk with everybody and share what they're working on and what they're excited about at program. So if anybody wants any more information, they can always contact me by email or by visiting our website to find out more about what we do at Loveland. But I want to thank Tom for giving me the opportunity to speak about what we do and um, advocating for how important it can be and what an impact that legacy giving can have to my program and other nonprofits that mean a lot to people and wherever their heart connects to for charitable giving.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alexandra. I thought that was fantastic. For you, those who don't know, I think Loveland is just a great nonprofit. It works here in Bradenton, and that's great. So thank you again for telling us. And if a cause like this kind of speaks to you, we can always feel free to get in touch with us, and we can discuss about how that might be the best way for you to get you know, charitable donations to somebody like this. But again, wanted to say thank you. But as we wrap up, kind of hope that you take away that the tools like this exist. They're real. They're tested strategies that donors use time in, time out that can make a lasting impact. Without sacrificing hopefully your financial security. So we have, looking ahead now, we have a couple webinars coming up next week. We have on the 1st of April a Medicare 101 webinar with a guest speaker, Joshua O'Brien. Following week, we have Jim Madel. And then with psychology of the spend down, transitioning from successful saver to confident spender. And after that, we got Sean and Dan leading us off towards the end of April. So at this time, pretty much if there were any questions, I didn't see any come in, but we'd be happy to answer them. And, I don't think there was any during the live. So if you have any, coming up following, if you're watching this video later on, me or one of the other teams will be happy to respond out and answer it.
Absolutely. It was a fantastic presentation, guys. It was really worthwhile, and I encourage anyone that's looking for a place to reach out to and make a difference. Definitely make sure you reach out to Alexandra and her team down there in Florida, because it seems like they're making great strides to help people make a difference in their lives. So really appreciate your efforts there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jim.
But it looks like that's pretty much going to wrap it up. So I just wanted to say thanks again for everybody for attending or viewing this later on in the fact. And just, hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you all again. And thank you, Alexandra, for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Take care. Thank you all.